We now know Deputy FBI Director McCabe told Flynn, no, you don't need a lawyer for this. Okay, but it becomes the basis of of an admission of lying to the FBI. And remember the information, they had a transcript obtained illegally because it had to do with surveillance with no minimization of an American citizen. And then, of course, unmasking of General Flynn and leaking the raw intelligence because they got a transcript of the whole thing. They're bragging about setting up a 33-year veteran here. And, now the judge in this case, this is going to be fascinating. This is the same judge that I've been telling you about, Emmett Sullivan, who literally unloaded on horrible tactics of the DOJ in the Ted Stevens case. All right, joining us now, we have two Freedom Caucus members. They have been in the forefront of fighting on a lot of these issues and whether or not there's going to be a government shutdown. We'll get to that, too. Louie Gohmert of Texas and Representative Jody Hice of Virginia. Guys, welcome to the program. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, Sean. Great to be with you.
I love talking to you, Sean. And I'm glad you brought up Ted Stevens' case because it's another reminder that was while Mueller was FBI director, and the one that actually, the FBI agent that was a whistleblower in that case got run out of the FBI on Mueller's watch, and the one that actually hid exculpatory evidence and basically framed Ted Stevens, that agent went on to do well and continue to move on to bigger and better things. That's the way Mueller ran things, and now he's in charge of this. It is an outrage. It is an outrage. And let me tell you, for all of my professional career as I've been a prosecutor, I've been court appointed on defense case in federal court and state court and been a judge and chief justice. But every other law enforcement agency in the country now videotapes, they audio tape. You go into an interview room, there is a camera there so that there is no question about what's said. The FBI has been able to get away with all of this modernization of communication because they were so straight and we could trust them. And when they did an interview, they didn't need an audio or videotape because they were going to make a note of what was said and we could trust that. The trouble with that is now we have caught so many of the top FBI people under the Obama administration and now under Trump administration of lying that I think it's time, and I hope that Judge Sullivan will help initiate this by having a ruling. I'm afraid he's not going to do it, but a ruling that sends a message to the FBI, come on into the modern age, you start audio taping because your notes that you try to manipulate and maybe even change after the fact to manipulate are not good enough to go after somebody for lying.
Let me get Jody in on this. I look at this and I am flabbergasted at the statements of Jim Comey, former FBI, and the actions of Comey, and the actions of McCabe. And knowing this judge's background, Sullivan's background in the Ted Stevens case, I could see him vacating the whole thing and maybe doing what he did the last time. And that would be appointing a special prosecutor to look into the prosecutors, as I've always been saying.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Sean. I mean, here, these people were so focused on getting Trump that they were willing to set up a 3-star general. And, I mean, that is appalling. And as you mentioned earlier, we're talking about the first week of this administration. There's 4 things with this that really are disturbing to me. It's before the interview with Flynn, during the interview, and then afterwards. There was not they didn't follow procedure in even setting up the interviews with Flynn. It's just kind of casually, let's send a couple of agents over here and talk with him. Then the meeting itself, Flynn is not even aware that it's a formal interview. It doesn't appear, at least that's what's being alleged. In fact, he gave a tour of the White House after the interview. It was just a casual meeting as far as he was concerned.
Listen, guys, I got to tell you something. If they treat little old Sean Hannity like this, maybe I expect it. This is an American hero.
A 3-star general, absolutely.
This is a guy We're setting up a guy that served his country for 33 years. What the hell is going on here?
They didn't even report the details of this until 7 months after the interview. I mean, how do you have an interview like this with the FBI, and then they did not even turn in what the interview consisted of until August? And the interview.
But there's a problem with. Well, hang on, I'll tell you, this is a great piece that was put out by the Federalist today. But Comey, in the latest interview with Trey Gowdy, said, "Oh yeah, I think I probably did look at that 302, but he was gone in May of 2017." And then the struck page memos refer to a 302 with an F in front of it, which probably means Flynn. And so they're caught red-handed. That means that it was either destroyed or altered to me. One or the other. Pick your poison, Louie.
Well, it sure looks like it was altered or maybe redone, and they got rid of evidence that was there. But under the law, the case of Brady, you have to disclose exculpatory evidence, and there are all kinds of exculpatory things here that it appears not only did they not disclose it to the defense, but they actually hid it, much like they did in some other matters we dealt with. But let me tell you, though, whether it's Sean Hannity or a decorated hero, of course, you're my hero too, Sean, but they...
I'm not, you know what, Louie, let's be blunt here. I'm not General Flynn. Wait, hang on. They made this guy sell his freaking house. This is ridiculous.
Right. Because you are a target. They have to give you your rights. And clearly, General Flynn was a target. They were coming after him. They're required to read him the rights. And when you're a target, read the rights. They didn't do that. They were setting him up. And I don't know what Judge Sullivan will rule. I know what I would rule. This is such an outrage.
Well, and Louie, if I can add to that, I mean, you're exactly right. He was not even allowed to have an attorney in this interview. And the double standard is glaring. When they interviewed Hillary Clinton, she had, 9 attorneys in there with her when she was interviewed by the FBI. But here, Flynn is not even allowed to have anyone.
Yeah, she had witnesses with her, too.
A room full of
you don't ever allow a witness to be in with another witness's testimony. They did that with Hillary.
Well, I'm going to tell you something here. It's now beginning to come together. There have been rumors of this. I have heard for well over a year and a half. John Solomon has heard them. Greg Jarrett has heard them. Sarah Carter has heard them. And, we've discussed it. But this seems to now be the smoking gun here that we now have. And what do you both make of the special counsel that they hired Strzok and Page? Find out that these two are politically, the ones that exonerated Hillary. He was writing the exoneration before he ever interviewed her. Then he races to the Russia investigation. He's the one saying, well, 100 million to 0, Hillary should win. And so Mueller gets rid of them quietly. Then these phones are wiped clean. How conveniently.
Yeah, and you know the answer. Mueller wanted people that were going to treat the Trump administration and anybody that was close to him very unfairly. He knew Weissman's record, and you've talked about this more than anybody, Sean. Weissman destroyed thousands and thousands of lives in a case that wasn't even a crime, knocked down 9-0, and Mueller knew that. He doesn't care as long as he could destroy these lives. This is a really serious matter.
I think I'm one of the few people that said, why would he ever hire a guy that lost tens of thousands of jobs lost in the Enron investigation? He has been cited and excoriated on the issue of exculpatory evidence. Read License to Lie. I mean, it's chock full of information about Mueller's pit bull. Just like Jeannie Ray is at the Michael Cohen sentencing, she worked for the Clinton Foundation. I think I'm the only one that have been saying, can we not find one Republican here? Mueller is a Republican. I don't think so. And, all of these guys are best buddies together, and I don't know what to think if this is how our top officials now have acted. I don't even know if there's any hope, Jody Heiss. I really don't.
Well, Sean, I'll just say I'm thrilled that finally, at least there's a glimmer of hope that Judge Sullivan is going to hold Mueller accountable. This has been long overdue, and it appears that at least we have the possibility, the potential of that taking place.
Well, Mueller got away with destroying Ted Stevens' life. I'm hoping that Sullivan won't let him get away with destroying the other lives.
Well, I don't think it was Mueller in the Ted Stevens case, was it?
He was the FBI director.
Well, he wasn't was he involved in the prosecution? Because they went after 6 specific people at the DOJ.
Allowed the whistleblower to be fired, and the one that engaged in the setup, the fraud, she went on to do great things from there, and I mean better jobs rather. But it also brings back to mind the meeting where Rosenstein is sitting there, and most of the media, not you, but most of the media, was he kidding when he said he'd wear a wire? Was he not kidding? That was not the point of that. The point of that is that you had high DOJ officials sitting around conspiring to take down a duly elected president.
Unbelievable.
Whether he was kidding or not.
All right, stay there. I got to take a break. More with Jody Heiss, Louie Gohmert. Then we'll get our legal experts in, Greg Jarrett, David Schoen, on the same issues. All right, rolling along, Sean Hannity Show. Congressman Louie Gohmert, Texas. Representative Jody Heiss. I think I said Virginia earlier. I apologize. It is Georgia. You should have corrected me, Congressman. You should have just told Hannity you're an idiot. That's okay. I can deal with that.
I wouldn't dare.
Louie tells me that all the time. All right, so we have a possibility. The president said, you're either going to fund the border wall, if the government, and I'll own it. The government shuts down. Now, there's a myth. There's no such thing as a real government shutdown. And by the way, I'll even speak out for those people that do get a furlough. I want them to get their back pay. They shouldn't be victims in all of this. But national security is what's at stake here, Louie. And even if the Defense Department, which said that they will fund this and get this done, I'm cool with that too.
Yep. And if you go back to last spring, the president made clear that, this people coming across our southern border illegally has become a national emergency. And especially with this invasion caravan, it is a national emergency. And, we lost just over 50,000 precious lives in all those years of Vietnam. In 1 year, we lost over 70,000 people to drug overdoses, mainly from Mexico. So it is a national emergency, and in a national emergency, he can use the military.
Well, it's a national security issue within the standing of the Defense Department. All right, real quick, we only have about 20 seconds for Jody.
Okay.
Yeah, Sean, exactly right. It is a national security issue. What amazes me, how anyone, even the Democrats, could not be in favor of securing our borders. And it has been proven over and over and over, a wall helps protect our borders. And it's time for us to deliver what we promised to the American people, and let's get the wall built. Hopefully we'll be able to get that done this next week.
All right, guys, thank you both. Jody Heiss, Georgia. Merry Christmas, Louie. Louie Gohmert, our good friend from Texas.